All right, so let's talk a little bit about the IMC process. And of course, as you recall, that IMC process, 4 W's: who is the target audience, what are the objectives, budget, and tools, where should the promotion be run, and when should the promotion be run. We're going to focus today on who is the target market. The target audience is the group of individuals at which the marketing program is aimed, hence the term target market. Target for target, audience and audience, or market for market. And so the target audience is the group of people who we have specifically identified in a target market, who is going to be the aim of our marketing program. So the target audience think about the target audience for calf roping ropes. I was watching TV the other day, and a company was on there selling calf roping ropes. And then compare that to the target audience for Dell's Alienware computer. Compare that to the target audience for Netflix. And so if you understand that each of these target audiences results in, it creates their own set of challenges in terms of what the promotional mix should look like and what the promotional plan should look like. Another example is younger millennials, making up 31% of the adults, or 31 million adults, or 13% of all adults are younger millennials. Older millennials, a slightly larger group, is about 18% of all adults. If you take a look at if we were just going to target the younger and older millennials together, we would have over 30% of the market by just focusing on millennials, younger and older. The target audience, the selection of the target audience helps us to determine what our communication objectives are going to be, the media that's going to be used, the message that's going to be used, and even the budget and how the budget's going to be allocated. So once we understand the target audience, that has a major impact on the other elements of the other 4 W's that we just discussed. So when we identify the target audience, there's a couple ways to look at this. For instance, one of the questions is, who do we want to hear our message? Do we want the buyer? Of course, most of the time we think, well, I want the person who's going to actually be doing the buying to hear the message. Or the decider, or the user, or the influencers, or the opinion leaders, and the list sort of goes on and on here. But the answer typically is, well, all of them, except different messages probably need to be made to different groups. This is usually determined by demographics, but sometimes by lifestyles. With database, it might even be a behavior. So, one of the ways to look at this is where customers are in the purchase process. Remember, we went back to the consumer adoption models that we discussed earlier in the book, and those include either the ATOP model, awareness, interest, evaluation, trial, and adoption, or the ADA model, which starts off with awareness, interest, desire, and action. Both of these, and if you think about it, where an individual consumer is in this process would impact what the communications plan should look like to move them further through this process. Here's an example of an IMC campaign for a new Cool Blast, Hershey's new Cool Blast mints. And of course, we want to build awareness for Cool Blast in the awareness stage. In the interest stage, we want to increase interest in Cool Blast. We want, in the evaluation stage, we want to educate the consumers on the Cool Blast value proposition. We want people to try the product, and so we have to figure out new ways to create trials with samples and sample packs and free samples. And then we need to get customers to adopt the Cool Blast as their brand. And implied in this then is the idea of building sales for Cool Blast and establishing a Cool Blast brand identity. But these are some of the sort of activities that would change and shift as we move people through the adoption process. So get the customers right. Remember my comment earlier on. If you know your customers, you know your business.